So we're going to be building a AI chatbot on a website called the Preparedness Experience. It's just a little website that has a whole bunch of articles on surviving in the wild, preparing for disasters, things like that. And when we're done, our chatbot users will be able to ask any question they want about survival, as long as the Preparedness Experience has an article on the topic. And it'll also give them a link to the relevant article that it's referencing. So let's just jump right in. All right, so the first step in setting up a RAG-based AI agent is to connect your website to FlowXO. So to do that, we have to use our knowledge bases feature and create a knowledge base. So we'll create a new knowledge base. We're just going to call it TPE. Sorry. And so now once you have a knowledge base, then you can set up an AI agent to ask any questions that a user may have about that knowledge base. You can either add new documents manually, or you can connect a website. And if you connect a website, which is how we're going to do it, I just have to copy the URL of the website, put it into the start URLs, give it a quick name. Then FlowXO behind the scenes will start reading every page on your website, converting it into a format that AI likes, and then automatically make it available to be queried by the AI language models. You can have as many knowledge bases as you need, and we'll actually use a couple in this demo. So next, we're going to create a bot so that we can actually serve the knowledge base and the AI assistant to users. So this is very simple. Many of you may have done this before. So we'll create a new bot. The AI bot we're going to make today is going to work on the web. You'd usually install it on the website that you're getting your data from, such as the Preparedness Experience. But there's many other use cases for the other channels, and you can use these bots in any channel you want. But we're just going to do a web bot. We're going to call it Preparedness Experience, and we're going to put a welcome message to greet our users. Ask us anything you want about survival. Actually, us is a little bit personal. All right, that's all that's necessary there. And so then the last page of the bot configuration is the code snippets you would need to install this bot on your website. But there's also a direct link to the chat. And what I always like to do every time I create a new bot like this is I like to put the bot in its own tab and then sort of move it off to the side so it's always there and I can continuously test while we work. So I'm going to sort of create a little sidebar here, and then we'll use that as we go. Okay, so now we're connected. It doesn't do anything yet because all it is an empty chatbot. All it's going to do is regurgitate the welcome message. So we need to set up a flow. And a flow in FlowXO, for those of you that don't know, is really the brains behind your chatbots. The flow is all of the various rules and messages and whatnot that you'll be responding to and sending to your users. In our case, we have a very simple flow because we're using AI. So we'll go to the flows section. We'll create a new flow. In this case, we use a blank flow. And there's many different types of triggers, which is what causes a flow to start based on incoming messages or other actions. For this, we're just going to use a catch-all trigger, which means that every single message the user sends will activate this workflow. Just what I always do when I start a new flow is rename it right away so that I can recognize it later, and then I enable it so I don't forget. All right, so we have a trigger. Now we need an action to actually do something when the user sends a message. In your rule-based flows, you'll usually use a wide variety of actions as you're guiding the user through various steps. But for the Q&A, for the AI chatbot step, all you really need is from the knowledge base area, the answer question. And then everything else is pretty much taken care of. And the only required configuration on this is the message coming from the user. We'll scroll down and pick message. You can set all kinds of things on this. I encourage you to refer to our documentation to help you tweak it for your own business. But there's one setting I like to set right away, which is to include source links in the response so that the bot will send back links to the articles that it's referencing in its answers. Okay, so at this point, we've already created an AI chatbot that can answer user questions. If we were to ask it a question right now, it ought to be able to take the question, look up some source material from the knowledge base, and construct a reasonable answer. So before we actually test it, let's just pop in and see if our knowledge base is actually doing what it's supposed to do. Reading documents, and it is, it's done. It read 87 pages from the website, so we should be good to go. So let's see if it worked. Okay, what is a good survival bow? Did I just forget how survivable? So chatbot always takes a few seconds to think because OpenAI is a little bit slow, but there it goes. We have an answer. The AI looked up an article here, 10 survival bows, constructed a nice answer. And so that's actually working. Let's just try another one. Let's see. How do I store rice? Jeopardy music is playing. All right, it gives us a nice numbered answer, various steps to take to store rice, and again, a link to the article. If the user clicks on this, it'll go straight to the Preparedness Experience website. So that's really about as easy as it gets for your first steps towards creating an AI chatbot. And in fact, you can get a long way with just these several steps if you have good reference data in your knowledge base. But AI is not always perfect for a lot of different reasons, one of which may be that you simply don't always have the answers to your users' questions on your website. So let's ask it a question that it might not know. For you Star Wars fans out there, I'm going to ask it, how do I survive a night on Hoth? So Hoth is a fictional planet in Star Wars. It's frozen. It's very cold at night. So we wouldn't really expect a real website to have an answer to that. And in fact, it doesn't. So let's just say for the sake of this demo that our survival website has a lot of Star Wars fans, and as a kind of Easter egg, we want to be able to answer that question. But we don't really want to add an article on surviving Hoth to our actual survival website. That wouldn't necessarily be professional. And this is just a silly example. In actual practice, there will be real questions about your business that your website isn't answering, and you'll want to go through the same process. So that takes us to the next step, step 3, which is fine-tuning the bot. And there's many different ways that we can improve our bot when it doesn't know the answers to questions, or when it answers the questions incorrectly or incompletely. And so we could either update our website and add new content, update content on our website. The changes will show up in FlowXO within 24 hours. We can create a dedicated FAQ using our intent detection feature. That's a big topic that we're not going to go into now, but we'll cover in a future webinar. And then one of the easiest, most common ways is we can create documents in a knowledge base manually to cover edge cases that our website isn't covering the way that we want them to. This is the technique I'm going to show today. It's really easy. It's really powerful. It takes effect instantly. So to do that, we're going to create a new knowledge base. I always keep this the fine-tuning documents in a separate knowledge base from what's being read from your website automatically. We're just going to call it manual fine-tuning. All right. And so whereas before we connected to a new data source to fill our knowledge base, in the manual fine-tuning knowledge base, we're going to be adding documents manually. We're going to call it Surviving Hoth. And so now we have to create some content. If we already know what we want this to be, we can just type it in. We can copy and paste it from PDFs from some other web page. And what I'm going to do here is I found an article on Instructables on staying warm on Hoth. Of course, this exists. And so we could either just copy the text into the document, but there's a tool called Web Page to Plain Text. It's actually designed for taking a web page and extracting AI-friendly text out of it. So we'll use that in this case. There, it's done. And we just copy the text. We're going to stop once it gets to the comments because that's not going to be helpful for our AI. We'll paste in that block of text. And then I'm also going to put the URL in the source URL field here. That means so that when the AI gives an answer, it can send a link to the user back to that web page. All right, so now we have a new knowledge base with a document on Hoth in it. And this should take effect within a second or two. So we should be able to ask the same question. How do I survive a night on Hoth? And we should get an answer. And we did. So we got a fairly in-depth answer on surviving a night on Hoth. You can obviously ask more specific questions. You can ask anything that that web page discusses, and the AI will construct a nice, thoughtful answer about that. So in this case, we knew we needed to add this extra document because we tried a question during our testing of the bot that the bot couldn't answer. And that's actually a really good way to get your bot ready for your users as you're building it. You should ask it everything that you can think of that your users might ask, and make note of the good answers, and especially the ones that you're not that happy with, so that you can tweak it using this technique and other techniques, and including choosing the correct model, like GPT-4 versus GPT-3. But in practice, you're not going to know all the questions that your users ask up front. So you can test all you want, which you should, but your users are still going to ask questions that you're not expecting, that your website's not expecting. So over time, we need to keep an eye on how well our bot is answering our users' questions and make tweaks to ensure that it keeps learning along with our business. So that leads us to the next step 4, which is monitoring the performance of our AI assistant. And FlowXO provides a few different ways that you can monitor how your bot is doing. You can just, on the live chat page, you can review, you can set this to be all conversations. You can watch the conversations as they happen and look at them this way. And you can use the Q&A history in the knowledge base itself. So in our knowledge base section, we have a Q&A history, which is just a raw log of all of the questions that we're asking AI specifically and what the answers are. And then, so you can use that to see if you're getting good answers. But for this demo, we're going to use a feature called our evaluation feature, which is fairly new, but it's really powerful. It's a big feature. We're only going to touch on it surface level right now, but it'll give you a taste of how you can monitor the quality of your bots over time. So to get this started, we just have to go into our flow, and we're going to edit our answer question task here. And at the very bottom, we're just going to select request feedback to yes. And what that's going to do is that when we ask when a user gets an answer from the AI now, they're going to be presented with a little thumbs up, thumbs down, so that they can say if they were satisfied with the response. So say, what is a good survival goal? Oh. Okay, didn't like that. Maybe I spelled that wrong. Let's do one that we've done before. How do I survive? wasn't able to figure out that I meant survival there. Survival, not close enough. All right, so you can see now that there's thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up buttons. Let the user basically say if they're happy or not happy with the answer. In this case, we're gonna just say not happy for a demonstration. They'll thank them for their feedback. You can customize the responses, and you can also take different actions when your users give you feedback. For instance, you could set up a flow so that if they give you a thumbs down, you can ask them more follow-up questions about why they're not happy. But for now, we're just going to do it take the simple route. And so there's an evaluation tab over here, which is access to the evaluation feature, and it will collect every negative review. There's also a configuration that you can do that I'm not going to go into detail here, where you can have it sample either 25, 50, 70, or all of the questions that the AI gets, whether they're rated highly or poorly. It's usually a good idea to at least be reviewing some portion of your questions so that you can just keep an eye on things. Users might not always give you a good review. They may ignore that sometimes. And then you can also set a setting for how often you want questions that the bot wasn't able to answer to be sent to reviews. It is important to continuously monitor when your bot can't answer questions, because that's usually an opportunity for adding content to your website. Okay, so I'm not going to go into the details of this, but there is a whole workflow that's built in here so that you can manually review the quality. We don't have the analytics up yet, but it's coming soon so that you can view this numerically over time. And there's a process in here to indicate which evaluations should need further correction and which ones are good. So I encourage you to read the documentation to see how all of that works. All right, so we're almost done with the first version of our bot here. As simple as it was, it's already pretty powerful. But one thing that it doesn't do is it's not able to send our users to a live agent. So the AI is great. It can reduce your need for human-based customer support significantly, but if your business provides agents to interact with your customers, the AI is never going to be able to completely replace that. And so if you were to ask it right now, I need to talk to an agent, it's not going to be able to give a very useful answer. So it just says, sorry, I can't help you. That's probably not what you want if you are providing live chat to your users. So what we need here is something other than the knowledge base. And that's where our intent detection feature comes in. Intent detection is a different kind of AI that it goes in between your user's message and the knowledge base to determine if there's any actions that your bot is pre-programmed to support that the user might be wanting to do, as opposed to just asking it a simple question. The intent detection feature, I have a hard time saying that word. The intent detection feature, like our evaluations feature, is a very big topic. We're not going to go into a lot of detail right now, but we are going to just set it up real quick so that you can see the mechanics of how it works. So to get to it, we'll go into intents on the main navigation. And we have to create a new intent detector, which we'll call default. An intent detector is just a set of mappings between intents and actions. And I'm going to type this into the test, but the same type of message I did before. I need to talk to it. All right. So since we haven't programmed any intents, it's picking unknown. We're going to create a new intent. We're going to call it agent chat. Now, if we type, I'm not going to type exactly the same thing. I need to talk to a person instead of a human. It matches that intent now. And so we do need to edit this intent, because right now it doesn't do anything. But we need to edit our agent chat intent to simply tell it that the action should be to start a live chat. And these actions can be a variety of different things. I encourage you to explore that. They can launch different flows, can send menus. It's very powerful. But for now, we're just gonna use the default settings to start a chat. So just I'm gonna take a quick detour here. I'm not gonna go too deep into this, but the way that intents work is you wanna configure it with a variety of different samples of things that your question, types of ways your users might ask. So you might wanna say, transfer me to an agent. So that's not close enough. Oh, actually it was close enough. I found that. But nevertheless, you want to, just like when you're building your knowledge base Q&A, you want to do a bunch of tests and make sure that you have that you're covering all of the ways that you think your users are going to ask the question. So now that that's there, if I do the same thing, I need to talk to a person. Then there we go. We're now chatting with the person, and we can connect and say, hello, how can I help you? Saying hi. All right. So that is that. And that chat now. So that's it. We just created a fully automated AI-powered customer service agent that can answer any questions about our business that our website can, and some things that our website can't. We connected our website to a knowledge base. We set up a web bot, created a really simple one-step workflow to feed questions into the AI. We fine-tuned our bot to answer questions about a Star Wars planet that wasn't covered on our website. We learned to monitor our bot's performance over time using evaluations or logs or live chat. And we integrated flexible human handoff mechanism to escalate chats to an agent when the bot detected that a user needs to talk to a person. Over the course of the demo, we glossed over a bunch of details, particularly with the intent detection and evaluations. We will do future webinars on those topics and go in depth, but I encourage you to look at some of the links we'll send after the webinar to learn more about how to customize all that for your business. And that's it for the demo. So